Let's start with Kenya. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Kenya. Um, Last episode and the episode before that, she had definitely mentioned, her dissatisfaction, um, that her I can't even fix my mouth to call this man her husband. Like, I know they said she's married, but it's like they're not acting married. Like, y'all tell me what y'all think, because this last episode just made me feel really like a lot of people have been saying, and I have been saying myself as well, that it seems like Kenya's whole marriage is just of convenience and just to get back on the show. And I know we keep hearing that and we keep mentioning that. And, is it true? Did her and that dude possibly get married just for, I don't get it, because I'm like, this guy doesn't even act like he's at the least bit interested in Kenya. I know he hardly sees his baby because he's out of town. He has his restaurants out of town, and Kenya's in the A. And so, I can imagine, not seeing your child for months at a time or weeks at a time, how excited you be when you see your child. But it's like, she's not even there. And everything she's saying to him is like it's going in one ear out the other ear. I'm so confused. Like, what kind of relationship, Kenya, do you really got going on? It again, it seems like a big old marriage of convenience. It was definitely so odd. It was kind of hard to watch when she had mentioned to him, it's all about the love. We gotta have love, as long as we have love. And he turned and looked at the little baby girl, Brooklyn. He was like, yes, little Brooklyn, long as we have love, long as we have love. Like, and then when she tried to tell him, his birthday coming up, they should plan a trip, go somewhere really nice, have some quality time. He was like, without Brooklyn? He was like, without Brooklyn, you think me and you going somewhere without my daughter? Anywho, y'all. Let's talk about Eva. Now, I was quite confused about Eva's little storyline, because remember that scene where her and her bridesmaid had like an issue. They had a little beef, and the bridesmaid was going off, and she was talking to the media, and she was spreading tea on Eva, telling people where she lived, because I guess it was really discreet because of the fact that, as Eva says, her sperm donor must be allegedly abusive, and she had to take out a protection order against him. I could have sworn that she said that Marlo was the one who had put the information out there, but now she's blaming it on Nene. So I'm like, how you go from Marlo to Nene unless something happened behind the scenes where she found out that it really was Nene who had gave the information to Marlo. But either way, she's up here looking for a new house and everything. And the house, I think they said it was 700. The one that she looked at, which was really nice, by the way, it was $775,000. A really nice size house. I'm just thinking that's pretty nice size house for them. You would think 5 bedrooms. I'm sure it has a finished basement, a family room, not an arcade room, a game room. That's how big the house looked. But she was talking about when Cynthia asked her about her finances, are you sure you can afford this house? I was like, the shade. But I'm kind of thinking Cynthia might be right. Like, this house is too expensive for you. And what cracks me up is how these women be on these shows, not just this show, but be on these shows, and they look at the most expensive houses online while they are recording, and probably cannot afford the house by any means. Like 700, I don't know. I know you got your little money from the Housewives of Atlanta, and I know you do a little modeling, probably still, and your hubby, he's a attorney, but what gets most of these women in trouble is they be living beyond their means. So I don't know if Cynthia is right at her assessment. Like, are you sure you can afford this house? Maybe you need to, downsize before you even move in the house. But anyway, it was still a pretty nice house. I really thought it was a nice house. As far as Cynthia though, Cynthia, her and Nene, they didn't really show them together this episode, but they will next episode because we saw the previews. But her and Cynthia still seems to be at odds with each other, and it seemed like it's been going on for a long time. I don't know if it's going to end. Cynthia has her new friend. Nene's still kicking it with Marlo. Who else is back? Tanya. Remember I used to say last episode, I'm Tanya, she's Tanya. Just because my name is spelled like hers, I'm Tanya, she's Tanya. And I was like, I need to make that quite evident, because Tanya wouldn't have been taking all that lip and all that aggressiveness and all that disrespect, that she took last season from Nene and whoever else. Tanya, see, that's Tanya, I'm Tanya. But anyway, and Cynthia was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do me. Like I said, don't let anybody steal your joy. Don't let anybody steal your happiness. Just go to the prize, support your daughter Noelle, and her fluidness, aka flowing. Like Cynthia said, she told me that she was fluid, but I didn't know she was flowing. She's actually flowing. But anyway, just go support Noelle. Try to make it, the best event, just try to handle it really maturely. Stay in your happy place. Stay in your happy place. Now, although Nene had a lot to say in the interview, and she was texting all that stuff to Cynthia, telling her she's weak and you're so sad and this, Nene has been seeing a spiritual advisor. And I'm like, is it working? Is it working? I don't know. Is it working? One thing I wanted to mention was about Candy. Candy and Todd. Y'all know I love me some Candy. But when they started discussing what people been talking about in the blogs about Todd and him going to the strip clubs and drinking and kicking it with her daughter Kayla, I know some people, they be like, you do what you do. I try my best not to judge people when it comes to their children. I'm not the one to be like, you should do this or you should do that way. You have to do whatever works for you in your home. You know what I'm saying? But when I heard that in the blogs, and then they started talking about it tonight, well, not tonight, but last night on the show, and Todd was like, ain't nothing wrong with it. I kick it with my baby girl. I drink with my baby girl. We throw the dollars up for my baby girl. We make it rain with my baby girl. I'm like, I wish my husband, who is my daughter's father or stepfather or godfather, would take her up into the strip clubs and be kicking it. And I don't want to say take her up in the strip clubs, but for one, Kayla grown. Kayla is grown. If she wants to go to the strip club, that's one thing. But that's like me going to the strip club with my son. Like, why would I want to go to the strip club with my son and hang out with him and his friends at the strip club while they're looking at some female? One thing Todd mentioned that I thought was really funny, Candy and him was discussing, their surrogate mother. Her name is Shadina. And remember last season when he kept on talking about, can he touch the stomach? Can he touch the baby, the stomach? Can he touch her? And Candy was like, no. What? And he was like, well, why not? My baby's in there. I mean, I think if I was having a baby and it was another lady carrying it for me, And she would to tell me, "Oh, the baby's cake." I think I would want to feel. I think I would want to touch. I don't think I would be upset if my husband wanted to touch too. That's like such a special moment, to feel your child kicking and moving and rolling around. I'm like, Candy, he ain't gonna molest the lady. Let him feel the little foot, kicking the side of her stomach. Let him feel the little foot, the little elbow, the little back, the little knee. Them kids, when they inside, they be doing all kind of cartwheels and everything going on in the stomach. But do y'all think that's odd? Let me know, if she's tripping by not wanting him to touch on that girl's stomach. But this episode, I'm glad to find out also that Greg is totally cancer free, because I know him and Nene, I mean, they went through a lot. They already had issues, before he had cancer, before they found out he had cancer. They had already, had issues before that. And then when he had the cancer, they was kind of like, at a rough point in their relationship. And people was like, if Nene leaves him, that's messed up. And, should you stay with your man if they sick, even though you already like having so many issues? And Nene was thinking about, possibly divorcing him, moving out, all that. But anyway, I'm glad they worked things out. And even if they didn't, I'm really glad that Greg is cancer free, because that is really, 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 really scary. That's really scary.